Okay, let's get right into it. There's a specific kind of agony that's reserved for the Premier League title race.
Hmm.
It's not just about losing, it's about the what-ifs. And Arsenal, they had a golden ticket this week.
They really did.
A chance to go to the G-Tech Community Stadium, take 3 points, and open up a 6-point chasm at the top of the table.
It was all set up to be the perfect getaway. You win there, you put clear daylight between you and Manchester City, and you force them to play catch-up with zero margin for error.
Exactly. But this is the Premier League, and, well, scripts rarely survive kickoff, do they?
Not at all.
So we're deep diving into Arsenal's trip to face Brentford this past Thursday, match day 26. And for anyone who hasn't seen the table yet, I'll just rip the Band-Aid off. It finished 1-1, a draw that feels complicated.
Complicated is the polite word for it. I mean, depending on your perspective, it's either a resilient point gained in a really hostile atmosphere, or it's 2 massive points dropped that lets City right back into the rearview mirror.
And that ambiguity is exactly what we need to unpack. Because on paper, a draw away at Brentford isn't a disaster.
No, they're a solid side.
But the context here is everything. We can break down the tactical stranglehold of the first half, the substitution that changed the game, and that chaotic finale that nearly gave everyone a heart attack. But first, let's talk about the math,
Yes.
because that's where the anxiety really lives.
Math is brutal. It really is. Coming into this, Arsenal are the isolated leaders on 57 points. A win takes them to 6 points clear of City.
Right. And 6 points is a buffer. It's a safety net.
Exactly. It means you can afford to lose a game somewhere down the line and you're still in control.
Instead, the gap is now 4 points. Arsenal on 57, City breathing down their necks. And I feel like in a title race, 4 points is psychologically just so different from 6.
It's a world of difference. 4 points means City is just one Arsenal slip-up and a win away from closing that gap entirely.
It changes the entire complexion of the chase.
It does. When the gap is 6, the chasing pack feels the weight of the climb. But when it's 4, they can see the summit. It gives City renewed hope, and that's dangerous currency at this stage of the season.
So how did we get here? Let's rewind to kickoff. This was billed as a tough fixture, sure, but Arsenal have been in such imperious form. Yet the first half, frustrating doesn't quite cover it, does it?
Not even close. The reports are calling Brentford the spoiler of the round, and they really lived up to that.
They did.
They were the classic banana skin. We know Brentford can be difficult at home, but this was a tactical masterclass from their manager, Keith Andrews. He didn't just park the bus.
No.
He set up a containment system that completely nullified Arsenal's buildup.
It was suffocating to watch. The stat that just blew my mind was the shot count. Arsenal went into the halftime break with exactly 1 shot on goal.
1.
For a team that usually creates chances for fun, that's alarming. It looked like they were running into a brick wall every single time they crossed the halfway line.
And it was worse than just a lack of shots. It was about where the breakdown was happening. The source material highlights the turnover rate, specifically during the exit phase.
Playing out from the back.
Right. Keith Andrews had Brentford pressing high, going man-to-man on Arsenal's pivots. Every time Arsenal tried to play out, which is the foundation of Arteta's philosophy, there was a Brentford shirt just snapping at their heels.
And that disrupts everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We talk about rhythm so much with this Arsenal team.
Mm-hmm.
When they can't play through the lines, they start forcing passes. There were so many moments where Gabriel or Saliba looked up, saw no options, and had to either go long form, which Brentford's defenders just gobbled up, or play a risky pass into midfield that got intercepted.
Exactly. It forces you to play a game you're uncomfortable with. And honestly, Arsenal were lucky, really lucky to go into the break at 0-0.
But we have to talk about David Raya.
Oh, absolutely. He was the only reason the game wasn't effectively over in the first 45 minutes.
That save against Igor Thiago, I was watching it, and my heart was in my mouth.
Yeah.
Thiago rose so high, made great contact. It looked for all the world like a goal.
It was a massive moment. Headers are a nightmare for keepers because the flight of the ball can be so erratic, but Raya's reaction time was just elite.
Yeah.
He got across, got a strong hand to it, and kept it out. If that goes in, the stadium erupts, Arsenal's confidence crumbles, and the whole game plan goes out the window.
That save kept the title race in Arsenal's hands.
It really did.
It's those fine margins, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need your keeper to bail you out on nights when the outfield players are struggling. So halftime comes, and you have to imagine the dressing room was spirited.
Spirit is a good word, yeah.
Arteta is not one to let a performance like that slide. And fair play to him, because the team that walked out for the second half looked like a completely different animal.
The game gained a new face entirely, and there was a very specific catalyst for that shift. It wasn't just a pep talk.
Yeah.
It was a personnel change.
Odegaard. I mean, it seems obvious in hindsight, doesn't it? You bring on the captain, the creative engine.
Well, it changes the geometry of the pitch. In the first half, Arsenal were stagnant. When Odegaard came on, he started dropping into those pockets of space between the lines, the half spaces we always talk about.
Right.
And suddenly, Brentford's man-marking system had a problem. Do you follow him and leave a gap behind, or do you let him turn?
And he just demands the ball. His presence links the midfield to the attack in a way that was completely missing in the first 45. The aggression levels went up, the tempo increased. It felt like Arsenal finally arrived at the stadium.
And it took about, 15 minutes of that sustained pressure to finally crack the Brentford defense? The 60th minute.
And it was a beautiful team goal.
It really was.
Let's walk through it. It started with Piero Hincapié.
Mm-hmm.
We usually talk about him for his defensive work, but this was a peach of a delivery.
It was a precise, whipping cross. He saw the space, didn't hesitate, and put it right into that danger zone. And this is where the movement inside the box matters so much.
And rising to meet it was Noni Madueke. Now, he's not the first name you think of for a thumping header, but he climbed above everyone else. And the finish, that was pure technique.
It was. He completely wrong-footed the keeper.
That's the key phrase, isn't it? Wrong-footed.
Yeah, he headed it back across the grain. The keeper was shuffling across his line to cover the far post, following the trajectory of the cross. Madueke heads it back to where the keeper just came from.
And as a goalkeeper, you're just helpless at that point.
Totally helpless. Your momentum is taking you one way, the ball is going the other.
It's a striker's finish from a winger. So 1-0 Arsenal, 60th minute, the away end is going bonkers. You can feel the relief washing over the team. After such a disjointed first half, they've found the breakthrough. At that moment, I'm thinking, okay, job done.
Yeah.
Shut up shop, take the 3 points, and get back to London.
And that is the most dangerous thought you can have in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Job done.
We see it time and time again.
You score, the adrenaline dumps, and you relax just a fraction. But Brentford didn't fold. Their response was immediate.
They really didn't sulk, did they? The report says they responded with immediate fury. It only took 10 minutes for the lead to evaporate, and frankly, it's frustrating because it came from a set piece.
That's the killer.
Yeah.
That is the absolute killer. You survive the open play pressure, you get your goal, and then you just switch off on a dead ball.
Yeah.
Sepp Vandenberg put a great ball in, but defensively, Arsenal have to be better there.
The ball finds Keane Lewis-Potter, and he made no mistake. The source text says he did not forgive, which I think is a great way to put it.
It is. He was absolutely clinical. He buried it. 1-1. And suddenly the G-Tech is absolutely rocking. The momentum swings violently back to the home side.
And this is where the game went from a tactical chess match to just pure, unadulterated chaos.
Oh, complete chaos.
The last 20 minutes were breathless. It stopped being about systems and shapes and just became a basketball game, you know?
End-to-end stuff. Arsenal desperately pushing for the winner to keep the gap at 6 points, and Brentford smelling blood, wanting the scalp of the league leaders.
They really did.
Arsenal threw caution to the wind, leaving huge gaps at the back, which Brentford tried to exploit on the counter. And honestly, looking back at the chances created in those dying minutes, it's a miracle it finished 1-1.
We have to give credit to the defenses here. We mentioned Raya earlier, but he had to come up huge again late in the game.
He did.
And on the other side, Brentford's defenders were just throwing their bodies on the line, blocking shots, last-ditch tackles. It was desperate.
Well, providential blocks is the term used, and it fits perfectly. There were moments where the ball looked destined for the net and a leg would just appear out of nowhere. It was a proper battle.
So the whistle blows, the dust settles when we're left with a point apiece. Now, we need to zoom out. We talked about the gap narrowing to 4 points. But looking at the table, Brentford are sitting pretty too, aren't they?
They are. This is a massive point for them. They're in 7th place on 40 points, right in the thick of the race for the European spots.
Wow.
To take a point off the league leaders keeps them right in that conversation for the top 6 or 7. For Keith Andrews, this validates his entire tactical setup. He went toe-to-toe with the best team in the league and didn't blink.
It's a huge result for them. But for Arsenal, this is where the debate starts. I was scrolling through the fan forums right after the match, and the fan base is completely split.
I can imagine.
One side is saying, we played terribly in the first half, thank God we got a point. The other side is screaming, we threw away a 1-0 lead and let City back in. Where do you land on this?
It's the eternal question of the title race, isn't it? Look, if you want the optimistic view, Arsenal went to a tough ground, played poorly for 45 minutes, got physically battered, and didn't lose.
Right.
There is a value in grinding out results when you aren't at your best. That miracle of not losing is a trait of champions. You can't play 10 out of 10 football every week.
That's fair. But the pessimist in me looks at the context. You had the lead, you were 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go. That's when you need to manage the game, kill the tempo, keep the ball. Conceding from a set piece feels like a lapse in concentration, not a lack of quality. And against a machine like City, those lapses are usually fatal.
And that's the reality. When you look back at the end of May, if Arsenal misses out on the title by a single point, people will point to the 70th minute of this game. Why couldn't they hold on? These are the margins that define seasons.
And there's no time to wallow in it because the schedule is absolutely relentless.
No time at all. Zero downtime. The recovery protocols have to be perfect because the next fixture is right around the corner.
Arsenal are back in action this Wednesday the 18th against Wolverhampton. And that feels like, well, it feels like must-win territory now, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You cannot drop points in back-to-back games if you want to keep City at arm's length. Wolves can be tricky, but Arsenal have to defend their spot at the top. They need to make a statement.
To show that the Brentford result was just a blip, not a wobble.
Exactly.
But before that, there's the FA Cup this Sunday. They're hosting Wigan. Now, normally you'd rotate heavily for a game like that, but with the Wolves game so close and the confidence maybe taking a little hit, how does Arteta handle this?
It's a headache. It's a real headache. Do you play the starters to get their rhythm back and score a few goals? Or do you wrap Saka, Odegaard, and Rice in cotton wool because the Wolves game is infinitely more important for the title?
Yeah, that's the dilemma.
I think you'll see a mix, but the priority has to be the Premier League.
And Brentford have their own challenges. They're off to Macclesfield on Monday for the Cup. That screams banana skin, even louder than the Arsenal game did.
Oh, trip to Macclesfield on a Monday night. That is proper FA Cup heritage. The pitch might be rough. The crowd will be hostile. It's a test of character for a Premier League side.
And then they're back in the league, hosting Brighton next Saturday.
Yeah, and Brighton is a huge game for that European chase. They play good football. They want possession. It'll be a very different tactical battle compared to Arsenal.
So their squad depth is going to be tested seriously this week.
No question.
It's just nonstop.
Yeah.
You know, we started this deep dive talking about the golden ticket Arsenal missed. But as we unpack it, I keep coming back to the psychology of this young team. They've been front runners for a while now. They've had the target on their backs.
And the pressure's only getting heavier.
Right. So here's my big question for you and for everyone listening. We saw resilience in the second half to get the goal. But we saw vulnerability in conceding the equalizer so quickly. Does this result against Brentford signal a crack in the armor? Is this the start of the nerves kicking in?
That is the million-dollar question. Champions bend, they don't break. City are relentless hunters. They smell blood in the water now. How Arsenal comes out against Wolves on Wednesday will tell us everything.
Everything.
If they come out firing and win 3-0, then Brentford was just a tough night at the office. If they struggle, then the narrative shifts to bottling it.
The B word. No Arsenal fan wants to hear it.
Right.
But you're right, the reaction is more important than the result itself.
Precisely. The mental fortitude of this squad is under the microscope now.
Well, we'll be watching closely. Wednesday night, under the lights, against Wolves, just became the biggest game of the season.
Until the next one.
Until the next one, of course. It never stops.
That's why we love it.
Exactly. Listen, thanks for breaking down the chaos with me. It's never simple with this club, is it?
It wouldn't be Arsenal if it were easy.
But ain't that the truth? And to you listening, thanks for diving deep with us. Whether you're panicking about the 4-point gap or celebrating the point gained, keep your head up. The title race is far from over. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.